Hi, I'm Dr. Brian McDonough. You've probably heard the phrase, don't paint with a broad brush. It's an old saying, but what it really says is something I think we're learning quite well right now, which is you can't take an entire group and categorize them as good or bad or evil. And certainly we see this a lot with racism and with issues. Right now, we're fighting this all throughout our country and throughout the world. But it's a very important point not to paint with a broad brush now that we're looking at coming out of the COVID environment and as we move past the pandemic, as we increase vaccines. There is a tendency for many people, whether they're in the media or whether they're writing books or whatever, to try to hit an angle that attracts people. It gets them excited and it sells. It gets advertising. It increases profit. What we have to look at with COVID is not what politicians are saying, not what a lot of the people who entertain us in the media are saying, but we have to look at what is the truth. And here's the truth. First of all, we have to remain safe as we move past COVID. We have to respect those who haven't gotten the vaccines yet. And if you're one who hasn't gotten the vaccine, keep trying, recognize the value. But until then, be very careful. If you're someone who has gotten the vaccine, wear a mask and social distance when you are around people who have not had the vaccine or potentially could not, because you do not want to give them this virus. Remember, this virus will kill people who are not vaccinated just like it killed people before. So you have to think every time you put people at risk, you're risking someone's life. So this is a very dangerous time. As people get vaccinated, they feel the euphoria of thinking they are free and they may act irresponsibly. But getting back to the painting with a broad brush, you now have politicians either saying, I'm a hero, my opponent's not a hero, my opponent killed people, I save people. You're hearing it all the time. You're hearing politicians saying, it's time to open the cruise industry, let's do it now. I mean, you hear all these things. What I'm telling you is right now, we still have to be very careful, but we have to watch something very closely. This is an opportunity to start to include those who have been either ignored or left in isolation for a long time. As human beings, before and long after COVID, we're social and we thrive on having relationships with each other and with the simple things in life, the good and the bad. People who anger you are just as important as people who make you happy, because what it does is it raises emotion and it keeps you alive. And what I'm saying is, as we move along, we have to realize that we have to get back together as a society when it's appropriate and start to return to the way we were. The reason I'm making a big deal about this is there will be those who paint with a broad brush, those saying it's all or nothing. You can't begin doing this again, or we should be doing everything. No, the way it works with this virus is we build strategically based on the evidence over time. And there will be people, believe it or not, who are uncomfortable with letting COVID go. They're going to want to continue to live in a COVID world because they're scared to death because they've lost someone they love or they have been so fearful of dying for so long. And there's going to be others who are making money out of this who are going to say, don't let COVID go. And of course, you're going to have the opposite side saying, forget COVID, it's time. The reality, again, it's in the middle. It's balance, and we have to keep that in mind. So when you're looking for trusted agencies, trusted reporters, trusted news, you probably have the people that you know you trust. But remember, don't be turning to the entertainment news, to the personal opinion news, to the high rating, we've got to be the number one in our time slot news. That will not get you, by and large, the proper information. Do not listen to politicians as they make their grandiose speeches, because again, all of these people have secondary gain. Listen to the scientists, watch and read the studies, because those studies have to be evidence-based and they have to be based on fact. Because right now, what we need more than ever is fact, but we need to start crawling out of where we've been and start to live life again.